For more than 20 years of my life, I have lived in a single city in a completely different country without even thinking about the fact that everything could change at one moment. Of course, I traveled and studied in different places before and compared them, but still had the deepest relationship with the streets of a single city. We were like secret lovers, basking in the rays of a spring sun, exploring each other, or hardly talking during the long winters. My love was based on the concept of seasons. I love the urban areas and the old center in the spring and summer. In autumn, I watched them fade with sadness, and in winter, I quietly hated them. Of course, I had favorite places associated with personal memories, and there were places that I tried to avoid in any season of the year, and there were special places for different moods. But 3 years ago, this whole complex chain of carefully built love relationship just collapsed when I moved to Munich. Probably many who moved went through similar stages. These are the same stages of accepting inevitable loss: denial, anger, dread, depression, and acceptance at the end. So first, denial. Exploring a new place almost always starts from the center and then sinks deeper. You try to compare each new turn of the streets with what you once knew. This house is so similar to the one where I stayed mesmerized every time I passed by. And this yard seems to be the same as the one in which I used to disappear in the evenings with friends. But the more you immerse yourself in the city, the less you find something familiar. You have just been kidding yourself all this time. Nothing around you looks like the places you loved. The next stage is anger, the stage of loud hatred. It's loud because meeting every new person you get to the chance to talk to, you won't forget to mention how terrible this new city is, and that it's just impossible to get used to it, and it's just impossible to love it. This mixed architecture, atypical for your past place, it's really annoying. Who could have built so many terrible houses and designed so many inconvenient streets? How do people who come here, or even more so, who live here, manage to find beauty in this ugly place? You try to appear in the city as little as possible, limiting your existence to the residential yard and the store next door. You finally conclude, I will never love this place. What about trade? I think this is the most interesting stage for me. Over time, I realized that the trade was the turning point in shaping my relationship with a new place. One day, after doing business in the city, I put on my headphones and just wandered in unknown direction. I came across English bookstore, then old record store, and a shop with handmade art. My favorite song came on, and somehow I found myself on a bridge over the railroad tracks where I had never been before. The light falls beautifully, and I smile and find myself thinking, why haven't I noticed anything like this before? This city may be ugly, but it's not the whole city. It's worth the attention and time for further exploration. Depression comes unexpectedly. You just entering the stage called I will give the city another chance, when suddenly a series of troubles occur. Your bus is late, the weather is nasty outside, you get into an area that doesn't seem the least bit pleasing, and you think, God, I was right. this place is terrible after all. But having gone through this several times and built a completely new relationship with Munich, now I can say for sure that this will pass. Even in the most beautiful city on the planet, you may have a bad day. But is the city to blame for this? After almost 3 years, I'm starting to be friends with the city, and I don't even call it new anymore because it stopped being that way. I'm trying to accept it. I'm using maps less and less to navigate, and I'm trusting my gut more and more. I know the train schedule and how long it takes to, so as not to be late. I already have places I love and hate. I also began to like the combination of different architectural styles, and now I find beauty in it. I love windows, old and new buildings, and I look into small yards with childish interest. And every time I find something new. I know that love is still a long way off, but we got off the ground, finally stopped avoiding each other and started talking more. We are opening up to each other slowly, and it's nice. We have our own comfortable pace. I study the light, the turns of the blocks, and the power with which it all resonates in me. I share my thoughts and experiences, and the city sympathetically guides me through its streets and vines, immersing me in further reflections. This time, I want to get rid of seasonal love. I want to love always, in a different weather, in a different moods. Probably, I would say absolutely unconditional love. Isn't that what each of us strives for deep down? I think so.